Almost 29. So-
We're live, huh? Wow. It's not an April Fool's Day joke. It's a little after 1:30 on the 1st of April, 2025 in House Transportation. And this is going to be an open discussion time. We have 4 or 5 things that I'm hoping to get to. And the first, I guess I can list them. We can pick out what we want to do. But one of them is, and I have heard from at least one of you on the committee, that if there is a House bill on that we have heard the presentation on, that we want to get more testimony on, or that may or may not want, you would want consideration for the miscellaneous DMV bill that we're going to be working on. If there was one from all the presenters, I did hear from Representative Tomlinson on one that she wanted to work on. I did hear from that the driver's education for potential, what it would take to get involved in a homeschool curriculum. I'm not saying we're going to take it up. I think I'm going to ask the DMV about what that might be, the implications of something like that. And I've heard a lot of people ask what happens if you make a change to the driver safety program, and how hard is it to make changes and what does it impact? And so I think we'll at least hear some testimony on what changes, how it works and what the implications are. We really won't do them. But under the guise of 2 or 3 things of possible driver education, we are going to kind of hit on that. Do you have somebody have a hand?
Oh,
Please.
can I make a suggestion?
You sure can.
I'm interested in pursuing the bill that I presented on the vision test and the endorsement for
Mhm.
RV. I'm not sure how, as I said, this came from my constituent. Not,
It's an H-284, Molly?
yeah,
No, that
I'm
was.
trying to remember this.
It was yours?
Yes.
Oh, older drivers?
Yes.
Yeah, older drivers and our endorsements
3-year
for,
operators licenses, and for the operation of motorhomes?
Yes.
yeah.
Let's,
H-284.
yep. And if I guess my initial reaction piece is we may want to treat them like 2 separate. I know it's in one bill, but it's
Sure.
as far as gathering testimony and when the people are coming in to testify, we
Exactly.
may treat them like two
Yeah,
subjects.
Yeah.
Because I guess, there are 2 different,
yeah.
departments
They
and-
related in the sense of the sex.
yes.
That's how they got put together, but.
Would you agree and be okay with the
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
that there might be,
yeah.
as far as who testifies and what the impact is, it might be 2,
Yeah, I think there
it
might be,
2 subjects.
there might be more, well, I don't know. I was gonna say there might be more, people might lean towards the vision more than the other one. I don't know.
And I would say we'll find that, I guess
Yeah.
we'll find that part out, but
That's fine, that's
I
fine. with me.
and I was more asking from the,
Thank you.
at times is it okay at times we treat it like 2 subjects and okay at times we treat it like 1 bill? And
These Senate bills. And I'm like, what?
well, we haven't heard any proposals on those yet, so I wasn't ready to hear about any of the Senate ones. But particularly we took the presenter's testimony on the House bills. So I was looking for a House.
Yeah.
I have not. I have not.
Well, they're not.
Is this an April Fool's joke? Well, go ahead and read that.
Okay, S-401, establishing high-speed rail service between Bennington and Montpelier. April Fools.
Don't laugh and matter.
S-401, replacing
Anywhere?
automobiles with equine transportation to reduce carbon emissions. April Fools. And the last one is S-401, funding the Newport Causeway Bridge into a drawbridge, allowing the largest grain dealer to be able to barge in from Canada.
It's more friends at House Ag. The cows are too now, but this might be.
I was reading that, we were doing, I'm like,
What's going on?
I saw was this equine transportation, and you gotta be kidding me, and then I saw Supernaut, and I'm like, oh my God, they're serious. And then I saw Grafter April
I
Fool's.
thought it was sponsored by the Amish County. Something, yeah. Very
And
nice.
those equines do emit a lot of greenhouse gases. The ones I've been around.
They're easier on the roads than cars are.
Oh,
We gotta get a street sweeper.
I was gonna say, if you've ever driven on roads in Amish country,
No.
they have
Uh,
a rut where the hooves, where the shoes go, yeah. So.
Similar to the one on 89
and
here.
how does that translate?
From our setting spare tires.
Thank you. And how does it work with the bus line? I mean, at the bike lane? Do they enjoy riding their bikes over those? We'll ask our resident biker.
I would just make a suggestion, one of us could stand and just read, just to refresh everyone's
Yeah.
memory of the different bills, that we just read the number and the bill, and we can discuss as a committee if anybody's interested, or pass and move on.
I suppose we could, I sort of hoping that ones that have already risen to somebody's level of interest that they want to, but if that they're looking to shepherd through, that hopefully some member who perhaps thinks their bill is particularly important has already started to speak to a member or two about it. So I appreciate the suggestion. I also would say that anybody that's serious about getting it to happen should have already come to one of you and asked them for you to speak to it. I think that what I've learned in this chair position is a bit controversial, is that I don't know how it's ever supposed to have been, but to get a bill passed through here, I'd expect one of you to be championing it. If it wasn't me, or one of you would be championing the bill and looking at the spot. So I'm okay with going back through it, but I guess I would say that if you haven't heard from somebody already pushing on their bill, then I'm, yes, Representative McCoy.
If I can find it, I got a nice little note from Representative Michael Booton.
I did
Sure
too.
all of you
Yes.
did.
I think it's
worth-
350 something.
Inspection.
Inspection.
358.
358 motor vehicle
Well,
inspection.
Representative Noyes also wants us to do something about inspections, and he's been.
Did he write a nice little note to every single one of us?
No, he did not. He had the one that the, whoever publishes the bills, when he handed me a copy of it. That was his nice little note.
What
Let's-
number was that?
Should we link that with the other one? So maybe we do need to go through and,
What noise is, making motor vehicle inspections more affordable, probably.
it could
Yeah.
be,
285.
maybe we need to.
Yeah,
go
with
along.
358, right? You could look at those two together.
285.
If there's any more inspection up there, I'm not sure. What do you got, Representative?
In the Kurtz bill, I'm hoping to pull out the bicycle intersection safety portion and get some testimony. I'm starting to line up here on that. But it
Okay.
might be good to have Damien go over that section, because I think we skipped it. We really didn't review it because I said, oh, we're gonna push it out of the T-bill hopefully into the DMV bill. So that might be the first.
So is there any discussion going on any particular bill right now, or are we just rambling?
We're just talking about which ones, if we do or don't want to. So what's gonna happen, I guess, if you do or don't want to hear more about it? We're not gonna decide whether we are or not doing anything with it yet.
Okay.
It's a question about if you have one that you want us to possibly include, or if you have one that you've been championed by someone else, or if any piece that you want to hear more about. This is not a promise that we're going to do any of these. This isn't a promise that but it is generally saying, try to be committed that we will hear about it and we will hear witness testimony. And when we're not going to decide it right now, but we will decide whether we're going to hear more about it. And whether we will add it onto the DMV or not. The testimony is going to tell us to a certain degree whether it is or isn't a good idea.
Yeah, and also too, like, feeding off what you did, when we did the T-bill, is sort of have expectations and parameters of our, timeframe, and maybe we can ask this to speaker at floor, but I'm thinking that she's gonna want this miscellaneous DMV bill out by the first week of May. So because it's gotta go to the Senate, they gotta do their work. So if we're looking at the first week of May, here we are the first week in April. And we're really not gonna start delving into the DMV bill until 2 weeks out. So we're looking at maybe 3 weeks of just getting through the bill itself. And then, we're asking, what members want on the wall is realistically, it's not gonna leave a lot of time I'm not saying that we can't give it a fair shake, but, you know, there's certain things that, you know, we agreed to with the bicycles, safety there, nobody, one other, but I'm just saying, just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It seems like we're.
So, well, and we're not taking them up per se.
Well, yeah.
What I will, and I think, I appreciate that, because what the plan is, and I've met with the commissioner of the DMV and his people. We will start, this week, and into next week and the week after, just like we do with the agency, where we don't have, start from ground zero, it's DMV, education, 101 or 001, like back in the first year of school. And they're going to come in and talk about the modernization program. They're going to outline all of their operations, which includes all their driver's license, the credentials, how they go through things, how all the registrations work, how that process is, purchase and use tax, how it's levied, how they collect it, how it works. They're going to go through driver education. They're going to go through inspections. They're going to go through the licensing program. They're going to tell us how their finance works, how they monitor dealers and activities, and all the way through their financial piece and the flow of the collection of the taxes. They're going to give us the entire, how the DMV operates on their entire program in the next couple of weeks. While we're doing that, over the next 2+ weeks to 3 weeks, we're going to become mini experts in how the DMV works, like you are in the Agency of Transportation now, mini experts about all the different sections of the Agency of Transportation. This one, you're going to become a mini expert. While they're presenting, I want you to have in the back of your minds, at least, a lot of the questions we should be asking are delving towards, while you have people in that are doing driver renewals, as an example. It's a great time to ask about why we do or don't have vision, why they did or didn't look at it before, whatever it is. They're going to come in over the next 2+ weeks to educate every aspect of DMV. If we think we're going to potentially add something, that's an opportunity right out to be able to at least get that first question out there, that what they are or aren't going to do. So we're going back to school for a couple of weeks on everything to do with the DMV. You're going to become mini DMV experts. You're going to do it with the idea of potential bills or clauses. We're not going to do any separate bills, but we're going to potential clauses or sections or updates. So you'll have the experts in here over the next couple of weeks, and you'll have a chance to kind of frame your questions and know they're coming. And then we will dig heavily into the DMV bill itself and any potential additions. That help with the time frame of where you're headed, what you were trying to, where I'm not sure if I did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I
I
said,
was doing a very good job of explaining it.
it's,
But
yeah, we're gonna be pressed for time and we're just trying to figure out the parameters. And like I said, we can ask,
Is the May 1 deadline, Tim, out of the chamber or out of this room?
So that's what we gotta pin down. Like, I don't know. I mean, normally we'd want it out here in 2 weeks. Cause we'd be out the first week of May.
Right.
I just don't know. It's sort of unknown of how long we're gonna be here. If we are gonna be here at the end of May, then we'll just be probably out of the committee by May 1st. But I don't know if anybody's tipping their hand yet.
So
We're getting out of here.
And I'm going to say we haven't done this portion of it before, and it's the first year out. There's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to set up for next year, because what you're going to find, I think we're going to find, is what one change does is how radical amount of work and effort it takes to change it within the DMV. So, but I want to that's why I'm sort of the discussion. What is the most important things to anybody in particular in the spot in the committee? That's what I'm trying to. I'm not saying you have to decide that today, but I really want to hear. If I haven't heard it by now, it's not going to get any attention time. If I don't, so go ahead, please.
Well, so I just want to reiterate that I support further testimony on motor vehicle inspections, which addresses 2 of those bills. And also the addendum that Representative Donahue brought to us last week. I'm interested in some more testimony to look into that, which I would characterize as rural areas' ability to take advantage of bike ped infrastructure upgrades. And then lastly, I don't know if this is part of this conversation or not, but will we or should we plan for some time to talk about potential revenue, like alternative revenue sources, streams for Transportation Committee, just regarding whether, we have had ideas at different times during the session, because we know that one of our big challenges is bringing more revenue into the AOT.
I was asked that question today. We were asked that question today. I guess I could have started there. We presented the T-bill in Senate Transportation at 11 o'clock this morning. And one of their questions was, what have we done? And of course, we took testimony on the gas tax, the diesel tax, the mileage-based user fee, the retail delivery fee. We got presentations on the purchase and use tax and potential options of capping it. We hit a whole bunch of different pieces. We didn't take any action on them in the bill. So it's interesting. They asked the exact same piece. So
But something might be coming back our way, maybe not. But I think we also too, as committee, is when we're done with our bill, I think this was the one we were gonna fill time to the end of the session, whenever that may be, to take up issues pertaining to that, to maybe line it up for next year. I believe that's what we sort of, I believe we sort of threw that out there.
we are going to tee up things for us to start on when we come back
Yeah.
in January. Representative Rao?
Yeah, speaking of teeing up things for probably for next year, I would love to get just propose a report on transitioning to vehicle miles traveled as the metric for evaluating infrastructure investments by AOT. Right now, there is a level of service is the way that it is achieved. I'm probably oversimplifying that, but that was listed in the climate action plan as a great way to make some progress towards things like complete streets and getting that prioritized. And some of this may need to, from a practical standpoint, kind of coincide with the Vermont standards update, but it would just be nice to understand how all the different policy pieces are talking to each other, if they are talking to each other, and how they might be coordinated in the future. Something to, do in the spirit of doing more with fewer resources. We can, wiser decision-making.
Representative Tomlinson?
Should I speak to the?
I know what you're talking about, but I want everybody else to hear it.
Okay, so I would really, I think it's really important for us to consider H351, which is the bill that Rep. Hedrick came in to speak with us about around renewal of different types of IDs, including driver's license, non-driver IDs, and real IDs. And there's a lot in that bill, but what I think is really most important is already coming over to us in the DMV bill from the Senate, which would allow anyone to renew their driver's license, any of those classes of licenses at any time, which is of a pretty time-sensitive concern for communities in Vermont, specifically the transgender community, in order to make sure that people can secure ID that accurately has their accurate name and gender markers. So this is something that I've been hearing about and I'm very concerned about. And I'm hopeful that we can take testimony on it and be able to include or maintain that provision in the DMV bill. One piece that was not included on the Senate side that I do think is also worth considering from that larger bill is an additional allowing folks to renew their licenses for an 8-year period. Right now we have a 2 and 4-year option. It's my understanding that maybe half of states have an 8-year option, which also seems like it could be beneficial for people for a wide variety of reasons. And I think that element might be a little bit more complex than what's already included, but I do think it's worth considering as well for kind of the intended purposes of this bill, but also more broadly as a benefit to Vermonters. So that's what I'm interested in.
So clarification question on that. I thought those two were tied together, the 8 years with the marker for identification. How are those? Because I thought that was sort of to buy time on the federal level when that goes into effect. But it sounds like they're separated. I didn't realize that.
They're separated. I think combined, they're a much stronger protection.
I don't know how you don't get one without the other is what I'm saying.
Well, if someone's able to renew their license today, then at least they're able to extend it 4 years.
Oh, all right, so it's 4 years as opposed to, okay.
Yeah, so currently you can have a 4-year
period. So that would be a great step, but 8 years would add more security.
So I thought we
stuff.
already had that in statute though.
We have 4 years currently.
No, not the
but
4
to-
years, the marker thing. I thought that's allowed.
Yeah, so that's already in statute. The only thing that we're trying to do is enable people to renew their license at any time. So right now you have to wait, I don't remember, until like 6 weeks or a couple months before the renewal timeline. So the concern is that if someone's license isn't up for renewal and they have to renew it in 1 year, will changes come down?
Okay. so
That
I
will
get you.
prevent some, yes, yeah.
Okay. I
Mhm.
get it.
You mean like Molly's having to take the vision exam or something?
That's another.
Yes, thanks.
So, yeah, so when we're having each of these, we're learning about what it would impact the DMV. When I hear about vision and I hear about a license renewal, and I don't know how it works today.
Mhm.
I don't know how it impacts the system. We're gonna hear about what the modernization system has brought to us. While we're getting this education over the next few weeks, I want the questions, the information, I want us to be asking them on real specifics about what would this do? What would it not do? Without saying that we're necessarily taking up any particular bill. We're gonna find out as we have each one of these section people that run these pieces and do this stuff. They ought to be able to answer, what's the impact if we do something like this? How would we go? What's gonna happen, et cetera? That's gonna be the sort of as we're doing it. So we're not doing any one particular bill at a time to start. We're doing 2 weeks of becoming experts and asking all of these questions so that we then have a much better idea of what we can and can't do. But we're not going to ask every one of them. We're not going to dig it all. We're going to be focused on these 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5 things while we have them come in. I know Molly has to go, so we can go offline for a minute.